Have you ever wondered what it would be like if two of the greatest warriors in ancient mythology faced each other? Picture the electrifying duel between the fearless Prince Hector and the imposing giant Ajax at the height of the Trojan War. Get ready to dive into this epic chapter, packed with emotion, honor, and decisions that changed the course of history. Hector, filled with anxiety and urgency, hurried back to the magnificent city of Troy in search of his brother Paris, who seemed to have vanished from the battlefield. As the supreme commander of the Trojan troops, Hector did not hesitate to storm Paris's palace. There, he found his brother, downcast and confined to his quarters, expressing defeat, while Helen, dissatisfied and sorrowful, lamented Paris's behavior in the face of suffering that had struck their people. Hector burst in with indignation, reprimanding Paris for his apathy, hiding in the safety of his palace while his brothers and fellow countrymen spilled their blood in a war brought about by his own actions. To Hector, it was Paris's duty to don his armor and present himself with dignity and courage at the front lines, even wishing she had married a brave man so that her disgrace and destiny would have been less burdensome. Helen, on her side, deeply regretted being the cause of such misfortune and pain. As Hector searched for his wife to say farewell before returning to battle, he passed through the marketplace, surrounded by anxious wives of Trojan warriors, all desperate for news of their husbands. The prince, moved by the women's pain, understood the silent torment they endured, but realized that, faced with so many questions, he could not possibly comfort or answer them all. At last, Hector reunited with his beloved Andromache, accompanied by a maid carrying their small son and heir, Astyanax, in her arms. Overcome with emotion, Andromache embraced Hector and, in a trembling voice, confessed she feared the very bravery she admired in him would one day lead to his death. Tearfully, she pleaded with him to avoid unnecessary risk, as he was all that she had left, after her own family had been taken by the violence of war. Hector, moved by his wife's words, asked her what kind of coward he would be if he sent his men to die while he remained safe. He understood the dangers, but honor compelled him to fight. In a moment of tenderness, Hector reached out to hold his son, but the innocent Astyanax was frightened by his father's imposing helmet. Smiling, Hector removed the helmet, soothing the child and comforting Andromache, revealing the touching contrast between the mighty warrior and the loving father. He bravely faced his destiny. On the battlefield, Hector shouted triumphantly, loudly challenging the entire Greek army. He stood ready to duel in single combat with any Greek hero brave enough to face him. Menelaus, although gravely wounded, threatened to accept the challenge, but was restrained by his brother Agamemnon, who warned him it would be folly to face Hector in such a weakened state. The Greeks' courage wavered in the face of such a challenge. They glanced anxiously at one another, hoping a compatriot would have the bravery required to face the Trojan champion. The aged Nestor, a veteran of glorious battles, declared that if he were not so advanced in age, he would personally step up as the challenger. His words echoed among the warriors, reigniting their spirits and inspiring several lead-ins, including Odysseus, Agamemnon, Diomedes, and finally, the colossal Ajax volunteer for the duel. To decide who would confront Hector, a draw was held, leaving the vital choice to the gods. Fortune fell upon Ajax, the mighty warrior of Salamis, whose strength was likened to a living fortress. Wielding his immense shield, so large and robust that no other man could even carry it, Ajax took his place before Hector, ready to enter the annals of legend. What followed was a spectacular battle. Hector's expertly thrown spears failed to pierce Ajax's formidable shield. Meanwhile, Ajax's own weapons penetrated Hector's defenses, demonstrating the evenness of the struggle. Both heroes showed extraordinary skill, courage, and strength as they fought until the last ray of sunlight faded behind the mountains. The combat remained undecided. Neither had emerged as the clear victor. As both warriors grew weary and night fell, the leaders from both sides called off the fight and declared an honorable draw. Hector and Ajax, still breathing the air of the battlefield, greeted each other with mutual respect, exchanging gifts as tokens of recognition and admiration. Two enemies, who started the duel as adversaries, parted as if they were allies, sealing a temporary truce. During that armistice, the hostilities between Greeks and Trojans paused, allowing both armies to collect their dead and pay them deserved homage. And so, the epic of the Trojan War continued, marked by unparalleled displays of bravery, respect, and humanity amidst the tragedy of conflict.